Hello guys, welcome back to Level Day. Today I want to share some time management tip for you guys because now it's back to school season and a lot of people are going back to school, or you might just be working as usual and you want some time management tip, which is totally fine because you all need to work on that sometime, right? So today I'm going to start off by saying that it's not necessarily about time management, it's about attention management. Because the reality is we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and you guys know it's an excuse to say, I don't have enough time. I know we might feel like we never have enough time, but look, everyone has the same amount of time, and some people get more done than others, and that's just the reality. So you can't say that you don't have the time. It's more that you don't make the time. So there's this quote that something like, if something is important to you, you will make the time. If it's not important to you, you're gonna make up an excuse. And for the most part, you have to be real with yourself. Are you making up an excuse to not put time toward this thing? And if that thing is really important to you, then you have to learn how to make the time for it. So my first tip is relating to the fact that it's about attention management, not time management. So you have to manage your attention. Nowadays, I know we all get distracted on social media, the internet, or just random things that we fill up our day because we are procrastinating. We don't want to focus on doing the thing that's really important, so we turn our attention to things that's a less important thing that don't really matter. So you have to learn to be aware of where you putting your attention to when you procrastinating. So learn to cut off your social media when you really need to get work done. Put your phone away. That's really helped me a lot in situation to just put my phone in another room or airplane mode. And if you find that you gravitate certain activity when you are procrastinating, for example, maybe you like to clean when you're procrastinating, that's like procrastination. Other people like to eat when they're procrastinating because you think you're bored and you're just going to eat instead of doing your work. So whatever is that you want to find a way to either cut it out or cut it off, or put a post note in that location to remind you not to do that. For example, putting a post in the notes and phrase telling you, hey, if you're not really hungry, get back to work. The next big concept you must understand is it is far more important to be effective rather than efficient. So being effective means you're doing the right things. You're doing the important things. Being efficient just means you're doing something really fast, really efficiently, and you could be efficient doing busy work, but that's not effective. Being effective is doing the difficult, hard, important work. So it's far more important to do what's effective rather than what's efficient. So how do you know what to do when you want to be effective rather than being efficient? So I want to introduce this like 4 quadrant system that comes from the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So you break down these 4 quadrants into like urgent, not urgent, important, not important. So it turned out that there are 4 quadrants. The first quadrant are things that are urgent and important. The second quadrant are things that are not urgent and important. The third quadrant are things that are not important and urgent. And fourth is not important and not urgent. So most of us spend the most time in question one, which are things that are urgent and important. So these things are like racing deadlines, crises, things that we must like fix right away because they are important and they urgent. And it's kind of like you're putting out fire constantly. Things are popping up and like, oh my, I got this deadline is approaching, I have to do that. You cramming for the test, you like pulling to finish a presentation, things like that. The reality is, if you're spending too much time in question one on things that are very important and urgent, it means that you are going about life in a very reactive way. You kind of making procrastinating and you're waiting till the last minute until things must get done, and then you like, oh my god, now I have to do it. So instead of being creative and putting yourself in the position to always be like putting out fires, you want to spend more time in question two, which are things that are important but not urgent. So things that are in question two are planning, preparation, relationship building, learning, investing in yourself in some way. It's all things that are not super urgent, but in the bigger picture, they're actually very important for your success. So you don't want to spend more time on planning and preparing and doing all things that you might be putting off, so that you save yourself from having to do so much in quadrant one. You save yourself from all the crises and important things that just pop up. So the key here is you learn to transition and focus more of the time on things that is that quadrant two, things that are important but not necessarily urgent. So let's also talk about question 3 and question 4. So question 3 are things that are urgent but not important. So a lot of things that can seem urgent but they are not really important, like email, phone call, certain people pop up asking you for a favor, asking you to do something for them, report, sometimes meeting. So you have to able to recognize it is thing really important. I know it seems urgent, but it's not really important to my goal. And this is why it's really important to really know what your goal and intention are before even starting, like to do anything, because you want to know what's important to you, know your priority. One way to put that into action is do not spend your morning replying to email, because I know a lot of people have that habit of checking email in the morning and then reply because they feel like once they read the email they should reply right away. Like you have to use your time wisely. So use your morning time, the time when you most like active and awake, to do important things first, so that you can spend like another time slot later to like check email and reply to emails. When you do that, you learn to build up that willpower to focus on what's important rather than like impulsively try to respond to what seems urgent to you at the moment. So the first quadrant are things that are not urgent and not important. So these are trivial things like busy work, activity that you use to escape what you have to do, like browsing social media, watching TV, watching